Hey, what's up, guys? Node Investor here. Today, I'm going to label as the greatest day in Bitcoin ever. Maybe the greatest week in Bitcoin ever. So, I'm sure you've all heard by now, Bitcoin had this tremendous move today, up 20 plus percent, pulling a little bit here, but basically went from 2,300 to 2,800 today. Incredible move up. We'll get to that. I know a lot of you guys are asking, is it too late? Did I miss the boat? Should I buy now? And so I'll try to answer that, but I'm also going to try to show you guys a little bit into my thought process around how I find strength, how I find which altcoins to start looking at here, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Some of you guys are asking me what other altcoins are looking at, and to be fair, if you've been following me on Twitter or if you've been getting the newsletter, it's probably not a big secret because I don't share all of my trades, but how do I say this? I hint or I give you some ideas as to what I am doing. And I don't share my trades for a couple of reasons. One, I don't really day trade, to be honest with you. I do some trading here and there, but that's not my forte. I like to catch the bigger moves, a little more swing trade or medium to longer term investing. And so I don't do a day-to-day trade of a whole bunch of stuff. I like to catch the bigger moves. I'm not really into the whole catch 1 to 5% on a daily. I mean, that's too much work, to be honest with you. I've done that before. But the other reason is when I do share trades and ideas, by the time you get to them, I may already be out of it, right? So I don't want to mislead anybody or do anything like that. But that being said, I do share a little bit of what's happening. And so you can look over the past couple of days. It's been no secret, right? When we broke support, I was already out. I've been talking about the downtrend, and we finally broke below. And then I started talking about some other things here, right? Ethereum hits the target on the downside. I thought it was done at that point. Then here a couple of days later on July 16th, market caps hit a low 60 billion, Bitcoin and Ethereum bouncing off the expected support levels. And if you've been watching my videos, I've been highlighting some key support areas that I would be looking at to buy, and that's what I was doing, buying at those levels. It's been bouncing. I've been talking about my favorite altcoins. We'll look at these charts today, show you how strong they've been, and the pullback on Ethereum, that happened. We saw that. That was a good chance to buy there, in my opinion. And so on and on. Dash yesterday, they set up a little inverted head and shoulders today, popped out a little bit. So I'm not trying to toot my horn, but what I'm saying is that's how I communicate with you guys. I'm trying to share these ideas. I'm trying to educate you guys more than anything. I don't want you just to be the guy that says, tell me what to do. What should I buy now? A lot of my videos, and really the reason I put that whole course together, is to help you guys learn how to do this on your own. At the end of the day, this skill transfers to not just cryptocurrencies, but stocks and commodities and a bunch of other. And if you want to learn how to invest in a bunch of other things, it'll help you there. And so that's really the purpose of my videos. I like to to give you my insights on the markets and the commentary, which is why I show so many charts. Don't get me wrong, I love doing these videos. I really appreciate my subscribers, the people that are on my newsletter, and I just really enjoy doing that in the commentary. But I want you guys to learn how to do this too. So that's my little side for the day here, but let's take a look at the markets here. So coinmarketcap.com, cryptocurrency market cap back to $93 billion, and tremendous move out of Bitcoin today, up 20% basically. And everything is in the green today, but not everything was strong today. And I'm going to explain that to you guys because there was a lot of green on the board, but you got to be able to understand what does it mean when relative strength is not strong. So let me give you a very simple example here. Bitcoin, $2,700, up basically 20% today. Ethereum Classic was up 5.75% today. But if you look at the Ethereum Classic versus Bitcoin chart, it was down. It underperformed Bitcoin significantly. And so if you look at something like this, this was down 11%. So the whole point of that is if you had a choice, you would rather have been in Bitcoin today and not in Ethereum Classic, because Bitcoin outperformed Ethereum Classic by 11%, or it underperformed Bitcoin by 11%. However you want to see it, but that's why we look at the trading pairs there. Now, if you're looking just at the dollar, the fiat currency value, yeah, it looks like it went up, and technically it did go up because a lot of these are just tracking to BTC. But versus BTC, many of these were down and down big. So what you want to look for is if Bitcoin's going up double digits, 15, 20%, what else did that? And that's where the strength was, or what outperformed Bitcoin even stronger, right? So some examples, right? Dash kept up with Bitcoin for the most part. NAM did pretty good. IOTA outperforming Bitcoin right now. Stratus, right? Stratus 38% up. Bitcoin plus, right? So Qtum, right? 32%. Ant shares 21%, basically kept up. BitShares. So that's how I'm looking at that. And so let's take a look at some of these charts. First off, Bitcoin. Is it too late? Did I miss the boat? What's going on here? What do we do next? So here's a daily chart of Bitcoin, and look at that candle there. Just incredible move up. I mean, it's almost hard to believe that was what, 1, 2, 3, 4, just 5 days, not even a whole week. 5 days ago, it was the end of the world, and we were all looking at $1,800 Bitcoin for a very brief moment, and everyone started talking about we're going to 12, and then we're going to 1,000 and below, and so forth. And if you watched my video that I did just a few days ago, I came out right here and basically said, guys, I think we're done. It's overdone. It's washed out. And sure enough, for those that were thinking this was a bull trap, I think we're done, right? So these are the levels we were looking at. What do you do now, right? If you didn't buy at 1,800 or if you didn't buy at 2,000, now what? Obviously it's pulling in. I mean, there's always the traders that are going to take profit here, and it makes sense because of two things. One, the old highs, we're basically approaching those, so it's natural to see some selling there. Because you have sellers that had bought up in this very high range, and they're seeing the price come in now, and they're going, I'm finally back to even, I'm going to take profits. Totally normal. Part of this too, I think a lot of people were bearish. There was a lot of short sellers out there. This was a massive short squeeze to do part of that. Obviously, the whole scaling debate, Bitcoin not forking and splitting into two, drove this. But what to do now? So let's see. From the lows, I mean, if you look at the extreme lows, which I think very few people bought down here, but if you look at the extreme lows, I mean, Bitcoin has had a 67% move in 5 days. That's just incredible. So, back, if you look at, say, from just the video that I did here, which I believe it was around 2,100, 2,000 or so, we're already up 30%. We're pulling in now. So what I'd be looking for is, what are the support levels on the downside? Where could Bitcoin settle in here? It's normal to see this thing pull in a little bit, like I said. I mean, after a big move like that, they just pull in. There's just profit taking, and that's just totally normal. So first off, the downtrend is broken. Yes, absolutely, downtrend is broken. That descending triangle we were in that finally broke to the downside has been resolved. So officially the downtrend is broken. The support levels that I'd be looking at now is the old resistance levels. So this level here was the most near resistance, around 2,600. Pretty much once it broke above that today, it was just kind of off to the races. So that could be an area to look at if it pulls back. I'm not saying it's going to pull back all the way that far. Bitcoin is just so strong right now, guys. There's a lot of FOMO going on. I think any pull in, people are going to start buying it up. But we could potentially see it come back into this area. So that'd be an area to look at it. If you're not in it now, or if you didn't buy here, what would I do? Honestly, I'd probably wait, but I mean, who knows? This thing's just so strong. Maybe you buy some here and then see if it pulls in and buy some more now. But let me get this out of the way for you guys. Sorry. So that's one area I'd be looking at is this 2,600 line here for a potential stop on the pullback. The other area would be the old major support that finally broke down on that descending triangle, which is around 2,400. Will we get all the way back to 2,400? Who knows? I mean, that was resistance just yesterday, and so maybe that's an area we stop at. That'd probably be the lowest I think we could go here at this point. So let me zoom in a little bit on the 4-hour charts to show you guys what I'm looking at. So You can see here we had the big drop, and then we had the big bounce, and this is where it was hitting some resistance yesterday. So this is 2400 basically, this line here. Let me delete this one here, so kind of clear this up a little bit. So this line here in the middle, that's where we were hitting resistance yesterday, and you can see once we broke above that, it pretty much just went straight up without a pause. We're coming in a little bit now. So first stop is going to be that 2600 area. Next stop is going to be 2400 area, which also coincides with this descending downtrend line that we had seen, which we're finally breaking above. So when you see two prior resistance areas join like that, that's going to offer pretty solid support. So I don't know if we're going to get that far down, but you know, maybe you buy a little bit here, then you could buy some more at these lower levels if we see that. So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin, guys. I like it. It's super strong. Kind of wishing I would have bought more at 2000. I bought a little bit, but I'm not complaining, and here's why. Let's go look at some of the ones that I've been talking about and I've been buying at these lower levels, and they pretty much are performing at the same percent as Bitcoin, so nothing to complain about. First one is Stratus. We've been talking about Stratus for a little bit. It's just been in this nice little bottoming uptrend here at the lows, and has been strong, has been keeping pace with Bitcoin, even outperforming a little bit. So this is Stratus versus Bitcoin. And if you see a chart that's doing this, meaning it's going up, even with Bitcoin going up as fast and hard as it is, this is outperforming Bitcoin, which is incredible. So that's just how strong Stratus is right now. Is it's outperforming Bitcoin in spite of Bitcoin just going up as much as it is. And so if Bitcoin pulls in even further, you're going to see this chart pop a little bit more. And that's why when we go back to CoinMarketCap, you can see here, you know, on the day, Stratus up 38% versus Bitcoin up 18%. So it outperformed Bitcoin by a factor of, it'll tell us here. Well, here this says the other way around. It outperformed Bitcoin by 14%. So either way, Stratus super strong right now. So that's one I've been watching. If you're not in it now, it's basically right at resistance here on Bitcoin. And so I think if Stratus gets above this level, which it looks like it wants to right here, if Stratus gets above this level on the Bitcoin chart, you're going to see another leg up. The next major area of resistance is going to be this old area, which was massive support, which it broke below. So that's the area I'm going to really be watching. And that's this little zone here around 230, 233 or so. Let me highlight that for you guys. But that little area there, which was previously just really solid support, finally broke down and saw Stratus drop. That's going to be the area we're going to want to see it get above. If it can get above that versus Bitcoin, it's going to really start to move at that point. I mean, we've got a long ways to go versus the old high, so there's just going to be these areas of resistance along the way, but they're just going to be hurdles that Stratus is going to have to climb if it's going to get back to those old highs. But for now, looking really strong. So that's one of my top ones right now, definitely one of my top holdings. Another one is AntShares. Let's see how that one looks. AntShares. So see how AntShares is going flat here? Basically, it's just on par with Bitcoin, which means as Bitcoin's going up, AntShares is keeping up here, really tightening up here. So it's going to be interesting to watch how AntShares acts over the next couple of days. It's just really forming this really tight base versus Bitcoin. And so right now it's keeping pace with Bitcoin, so it's not dropping this way, meaning Bitcoin's outperforming it, so it's doing pretty good. If we could break above this zone here, that's going to be interesting. We might see AntShares go for a little run there. If we start to break down, AntShares won't necessarily go down in fiat, because if Bitcoin's going up, it could hold it, but it'll start to underperform Bitcoin here if we drop below. You don't want to see AntShares drop too low here. You don't want it to go below, you know, this level right here. But AntShares is another one that's on the top of my list. I've been talking about this one for a little bit now. So here's one I've been talking about. So if you look at Litecoin versus the dollar, right, it's kind of been in this little descending channel here, and then it had a pop and moving up. But it's been underperforming Bitcoin by a lot. And if we look at this other chart here, right, so this is Litecoin versus Bitcoin. And you notice in my last video, I pointed this little double top out to you guys and saying, hey, Litecoin's kind of underperforming here, and look at what happened, right? Right as it broke that support, just wham. This is basically Bitcoin just powering ahead and Litecoin not really keeping pace with it. I was bouncing a little bit here as Bitcoin pulls in, but I think Litecoin was serving as a good hedge pre-SegWit and some of the fears there, and it did a very good job of holding. But I think now with Bitcoin activating, you're going to see Litecoin possibly underperform or just on par here. We might bounce a little bit, but be interesting to watch how Litecoin performs over the next couple of weeks with Bitcoin kind of sucking a lot of the money back in. And so just if you're holding Litecoin, I'm not saying to sell it here. If you like it, Bitcoin just had this massive rally, so I wouldn't be surprised to see this Litecoin chart pop up again here. But just real interesting to watch this underperform Bitcoin. Let me hop over here to the trading view so you can see there's Litecoin. These are daily charts. Let me go to the 4-hour here. Another one I was looking at is Dash. So looking at the Dash chart here, and you saw me tweet out this little inverted head and shoulder that it was doing yesterday, and sure enough had this nice little pop. Right now it's kind of hitting this 10-period EMA. I think that's going to hold. So if you're liking Dash, a little pullback into this 180, 190 area is really the area to be looking at it right now. But I'm liking Dash. I picked some up on the pop here out of this inverted head and shoulder. So let me show you what I was looking at here, which is what led me to pick some up here. So you can see the first pull in here, then it bounced, and then the deep sell off, and then it bounced, and then we had this little pull in right here, and that basically formed your inverted head and shoulders, which is a bullish pattern, which once it breaks above the neckline typically has a nice move up. And I saw this thing edging out here late yesterday, and so that was my signal. And you can see what happened. It popped, pulling in a little bit here. Dash has traditionally been very volatile, so we'll see what happens here, but I'm liking it. I'm thinking it's looked really good. I really like this volume. Look at the volume that came in, just massive volume, which is what you want to see on a breakout. Good conviction behind the move, and on the pull in, volume is lightening up. So that's really a really good sign. That's what you want to see on something like that. So it just kind of gives you more confidence that this little breakout is not going to fail and fall back down, and this really is going to be a move that sustains. So I'm liking Dash. So what to do next? Bitcoin has had a big move. I don't know how much of a pullback we'll see. I think we're still going to rally. If we break the old all-time highs around 3,000, we're going to have a huge rally, and Bitcoin is just going to this is going to be the next leg up of the crypto rally, and I think it's going to be a lot stronger than what we saw in the first half of the year. So there's been a lot of money on the sidelines. A lot of institutional investors have been looking at Bitcoin, and I think a lot of that has been on hold pending this whole fork and SegWit activation. And now that that's behind us, you're going to start to see more money come into the space. But it's going to certainly feel like a bubble. Things are going to be moving up, moving fast. You're going to start to see the headlines. So, I tend to ignore a lot of the headlines, to be honest with you. They're entertaining, but at the end of the day, I'm a charts guy. I look at the charts. I do factor that stuff in. I factor in sentiment and all that stuff, of course. Fundamentals of the project matter. But at the end of the day, my signals, I'm going to take them from the charts. I'm not going to listen to the bad news or the good news or anything like that because it's typically wrong. And so if you guys like this, if you want to learn more, if you're not aware, I know I've got a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new followers right now. Go to my website. I do offer a couple of courses under nodeinvestor.com/training. There is a technical analysis course that is a good introduction to a lot of this, what I do. I show you the 9 most common patterns to look at. I talk about some key technical indicators that I use, how to read bases, breakouts, trends. And yeah, it can help you with your day trading and all that too, for sure. But at the end of the day, it's about getting the big moves for me. Right? I'm more interested in getting, avoiding these long downtrends and riding the next big up wave. Right? I'm not really interested in a lot of the little wiggles. Certainly, you can make money doing that. Just a lot of work, in my opinion. So that's going to be it for today, guys. I'll keep you guys posted with some more videos as I start to see some setups. Now that we're kind of in this up mode, this bull mode. Certainly there will be bases, there will be setups, and there will be breakouts, and I'll keep following that and let you guys know what I'm thinking, what I'm looking at here. Just to recap, I am 100% fully invested back in my crypto portfolio and even adding some, so my portfolio, adding more to that to pick up additional positions. And I've kind of been doing that over the last couple of days since I posted my last video because I thought the move down was done. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Till next time, take care.